friend. Hi,
Hi,
friends.
friends.
We have made it through One Tree Hill. We are on the last season of
Of
our
our
recap
highs and our lows
and
and
everything in
everything in
between.
between. And everything in between.
Everything in between. Or as I
I
like to
like your
call it, my
shirt.
miscellaneous notes. Oh, thanks. I'm wearing my Tyler Hilton shirt, guys, from the concert. So had to show my love for Tyler Hilton. So what are
Love
you
that
wearing? You have
guy.
like a pretty pink, like
It's a
flower.
Nike.
Oh,
It's a Nike golf shirt.
it's pretty. I like it.
Ryan got into golf and then we went to a golf store and then they had this and it was like $10. I was like, whatever.
Nice. You're like, I'm getting it.
I think we talked about this in a previous episode, but I'm a sucker for a shirt that has like writing on the back of it. So on the back of the shirt, it's like Nike. So I'm a weirdo.
I don't
I
think
would
you
prefer
told
to
me
have
that before.
nothing. Could have sworn it was you I was talking to when I mentioned that. I'm a sucker for like a very minimal front of the shirt, nothing really going on, but then I want like a bro tattoo like shouldered across the back that's like Nike or
I feel like I'm the complete opposite. I'm all about like big
and you
logo on
want
the
nothing
front,
on the back.
and then I usually have nothing on the back.
Remember we were making batch on a budget shirts where I was like, I want nothing on the front. You're like, no, we gotta have stuff on the front. I was like, I'd rather not.
Yeah, like well, because like even where we place the hashtag on the back, like that's where you're supposed to place it. But
That's
like
it.
my hair is usually long, so like I always
You
feel
never
like
see it, yeah.
I don't want anything covering anything on the back. That's how I usually feel about it. So
That's fair.
yeah.
Anyway,
Can
season
we just
9.
can we just jump right in? Just right in. Dive in.
Why not?
Let's get going. Oh, I'm gonna just get my miscellaneous out of the way because it's only
Oh,
two
okay.
topics. It's two
I
topics,
was gonna
and
give
one
you
of
a hot
them.
take.
Oh, you were gonna give me a hot take?
Yeah, I think I remembered it.
Okay, you go first. I want to hear the hot take first because
Hot
mine are
take,
boring.
season 9 was unnecessary.
I
But
mean,
then when I was going back through it and like was doing my highs and my lows, it was kind of season 6 for me where I forgot some of the key things that took place. That I was like, oh, that actually was really good, or oh, I actually really did really love and appreciate that. But
the problem I think with season 9 was again they didn't know from season 8 to season 9 if there was going to be another season, and then when they did do the season, they kind of I think they just didn't know how to make it a long enough season, which is why it's also so short. And then,
and it felt rushed. They tried everything, every storyline felt
yeah,
rushed.
yeah. Well, because
So
I mean, for instance, like I'm sure we're going to talk about it, the James Lafferty storyline. We're going to get to it. I know. But just like
interesting.
he had another project. So like, that's why they had to write that storyline. It was kind of like a forced storyline, which is probably why there were so many holes and things wrong with it. Because I think they talked about it on Drama Queens as well. They were just like, this would not be happening in Tree Hill. And I'm like, I get that, but they kind of had to do something because how are
Yeah,
they
how
going
do
to
you explain that
explain
he's gone for
his
weeks at a
absence?
time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I'm like, yeah, I get why they did it. Again, they probably could have done a little bit of a better storyline with it, but it is what it is. But that's a hot take, but I like it. It's valid. So,
I also have one miscellaneous too. So,
okay.
and then I have my lows and my highs.
Okay.
I told you I
So,
came prepared today.
yes, you did. One of my miscellaneous is so because I brought this up in a previous episode, and it was when they reopened Karen's Cafe, and I said that I would have preferred them to name it something different. Remember, I briefly talked about it. I was just like, I didn't know why they were calling it Karen's Cafe. I don't have you at all. Oh no.
What is the world that we live in?
Some technical difficulties, guys. We're good. We're back
We
on track.
figured it out. Anyway, what is your miscellaneous?
Okay, so I was in the middle of explaining that in a previous episode, I said that I didn't like how Karen's Cafe was like they called it Karen's Cafe and I wanted them to name it something else. And we briefly had said, like, oh, what if they called it like Tree Hill Cafe or like River Court? And then I come to realize this season that the rival diner was Tree Hill Cafe.
Well,
So the rival diner that opened up across the street, they called
yes,
themselves Tree Hill
Tree
Cafe.
Hill
And
Cafe.
that totally left my brain when we brought it up the last time. Like we mentioned some other things, but I just remember that being one of them. And I was just like, maybe that's why that popped into our heads because the rival diner called themselves that. So that was just a miscellaneous note I put under there just to touch base on. So that, and then my other one was actually, I'm going to move that to a low. So that's it. That's all I have. I'm going to move my other one to an actual low for me now that I've had time to process it. So,
Okay. So my miscellaneous was spoiler alerts for anyone who hasn't watched the show. Don't listen to anything that we talk about in season 9. If you haven't watched season 9, ignore, just skip this one altogether. But when Haley says the best part about my mom getting sick was knowing that we had time and we had that closure. Okay, great, cool. So Nathan goes to Dan and like he's in the hospital room, but then the sequence is that they're at the river court and Nathan's asking him all these questions and finally getting all of these answers. But then it cuts to Nathan in the room because Dan's heart stops and he's like, Dad. So was that a dream sequence of Dan's giving Nathan the closure that he needed, or do we think that actually took place and they just made it seem like they were at the, because they clearly weren't at the river court the whole time. He walks in, he starts talking to his dad. It cuts to them at the river court. They have this really heated conversation, not heated, but very endearing conversation to Dan. And then it cuts to his heart feeling. So did Dan dream this, or did Nathan dream? Like what I was left not knowing if they actually got to have that conversation.
I took it as, I guess
I
I
wanted them
took
to
that
actually have
scene.
the conversation, so that's what I hope, but I don't.
So so I think I took that as that they were having the conversation in the hospital, but that Dan was
Was so
picturing
out of
them
it that that's where he pictured them having it.
in a different, yeah, like in a different place, or that like he would have wanted to have that closure in a different setting. Like that's kind of how I took it.
That's
But again,
fair.
I could be completely wrong. I don't know. That's how I understood that scene, but I can also see where you're coming from as well. Like, did they make it seem like it was I don't know. Yeah, like it's kind of open to interpretation, which is
I need the
sometimes
closure.
a good thing, sometimes a bad thing.
No,
Yeah,
I need the
sometimes it's
closure.
a
I need
good
to
thing
know
to
if they
do that,
actually
and
have that
sometimes
conversation or not.
yeah. So, well, if you ever get a
Because that's
chance to ask
literally
anybody,
Dan's redemption. That's his, not his redemption, but like that's his redemption story. Like he
yeah.
explains why he did what he did, and you got to see the broken man that led to him making those decisions. And he's been trying to, make it right ever since. And so I really do hope that they have
Mhm.
that conversation. Viewers, what do you think?
Yeah, right. I feel like a lot of dramatic shows do that though, where um they create scenes or moments like that where they kind of like leave it up to the audience to kind of make their own judgment on it.
But I don't want it left up for interpretation. I want like a nice bow. That's the
Yeah.
whole entire point of series
I
finales.
don't
All right. Who are we doing, highs first or lows first?
apparently I have a lot more highs than I thought I did. Actually,
I have
I
a lot.
don't. I
I'm
think
even.
I have like paragraphs. I have like little chunks.
I'm even. I am with the highs and the
Yeah, I'm
lows.
pretty even too. So I'm okay with like I feel like some of it's gonna intertwine. Like we're gonna
Okay.
kind of hit it from all angles. So I don't know.
Can I say probably the shining gem for me of season 9? Haley does this a lot throughout the series where people come to her with heavy stuff or like they're struggling or they don't know how to process anything, and she kind of is like, yeah, that sucks. That is hard. And she doesn't take on the other characters like emotional baggage, so to speak. And so I
Mhm.
feel like that really shone through in season 9 when Nathan was like, I've hated my dad my entire life, and now I feel like I don't have any other time. And she just kind of like gives him that look of like, yeah, that does suck. Here's a suggestion, but you're the person that has to decide what to do. And so she really did that really well. I feel like throughout the whole entire series, but especially in this episode, same thing with Dan when he's like, oh, it's probably a good thing my grandkids aren't going to know anything about me. And she's like, yeah. But then she comes through with, I guess, like grace and understanding, and will tell the grandkids that their grandfather loved them very much, and so kind of like gave him that. I just feel like she has displayed a lot of grace and does that very
Mhm.
well in offering forgiveness. So that's probably like my highest high, is that she just did such a good job throughout the series
It
and
was very
especially in this episode.
mm, you bringing up that moment is very reminiscent of bringing Haley back to who she was in season 1
Yeah.
because, I mean, that's how the whole relationship with her and Nathan started, was she kept forgiving everything, all of his faults, all of those things. So you kinda, I mean, yes, it happens here and there throughout the series, but I feel like you saying that now, that kinda put a wrap on, like, Haley's character in itself because it kinda brought her back to, like, who she was season 1. So, yeah, I like that. That's a good point. I like that a lot. Trying to see if I have anything to elaborate because 'cause we're talking about, like, those characters right now, you know what I mean? A lot of my notes on them come from, like, the finale episode, so I don't know if I wanna get into that just quite yet because I wanna save the finale episode for, like, the end of this episode, you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't some of my notes on those characters and what we're talking about kinda come into the finale, and like I said, I feel like we need to save the finale notes for, like, the end of the episode,
Yes. But
if you
okay,
will.
then let me like earlier episodes. I mean, I just went. So I did have another, like, this was a complete series high, so I'll save that one till the end.
Well, I can go with one because I've told you, I kind of been taking my notes in the order of me rewatching the episode, so my notes are also in that order, if that
Oh, nice.
helps.
Okay. That does help.
So, like, I wrote right away in, like, the first episode I said the first episode starts out genius because we just
Yes.
it and I kind of recapped how it started, and I just said it starts out so dark and, like, so many WTF moments because all you see is you have Dan with a gun and Chris Keller, and then you got Chase bloody and getting arrested, Clay and Quinn fighting, Brooke in a rage throwing things, Julian getting beat up, Haley at the morgue breaking down crying and not seeing, and we don't see Nathan in the opening, scene at all. I was like, it was just set up, like, brilliantly to just be like, "Where are we going this season?"
Yes. How they
And
open and you're
I
like,
don't
I
think they've
don't I
ever
feel like we need to go backwards. What's going on? Is there a time hop? Why is Brooke throwing things? Why is Julian
yeah,
getting
and
beat up?
they've never started a season like that before. I mean, well, yeah, no, they've never started a season like that before. I was trying to think, there was the one episode where
They've
they
started
were fighting
episodes
in
that
the
way, but never a season.
yeah, like the Midnight Madness, like, I liked how that
Yes.
episode started because all the fighting was happening, and then you're like, "Wait, how did we get here?" Um, and so I kinda liked that they did that with everybody's storyline in season 9, just started off with a bang, and you're just like, "Oh, wow, okay, this is how we're starting out, okay." Um, so yeah, that was a big high for me, was just how they started the whole thing to begin with. I really liked it. I had Chris Keller coming back as a regular, super high for me. I loved it. Just for him to finally get more screen time and his moment to, like, finally be a main character, I thought was great. Um, and I liked his and Chase's friendship. I really liked, their dynamic together. They were really fun together. Since I'm mentioning Chase, I'm gonna mention a low really quick because this was the miscellaneous that I was like, I'm now moving it to the low pile. And then
Oh, okay.
also I brought it up that Chase was bloody and, getting arrested. Him going in and doing that scene where he's going to protect Chuck. Yes, I love that he was going to protect Chuck. However, the way he handled it, that was not Chase's character, I felt like.
Yeah.
I felt like that was not his vibe. I could see, like, a Nathan doing something like that, like being the
Mhm.
fighter, protector, and something like that, but Chase never gave off that energy. So it just felt very off to me for the scene to go down like that. I don't know. I don't know how you felt about it, but
So the Chuck storyline is a low was a high and a low for me.
uh-huh.
One, because like why did that have to be a storyline? But we have tons of other storylines like that. But it was also high for me because yes, it wasn't indicative of Chase's character, but I think that speaks to the gravity of the situation.
Mhm,
That it's that
mhm.
that's the way that Chase reacted because
Yeah.
Chuck was getting hurt. Like he was overcome with emotion, got to the house, heard what was going on, ran in. Maybe he saw something. And I think in those moments, like if you were to I can't even imagine. I try not to as a parent now, but you don't know what you would do in those situations. So I think it speaks to the gravity of the situation. But I agree, like Chase was never really the guy who went in and, beat somebody up. But
I
given the situation,
I think he would've went in to help his mother in the situation because
yeah.
like, Chuck had run out of the house, right? So I understood that, like, Chase would've ran in and helped. Yes, that is definitely his character. What did not feel like his character was opening the trunk of his car, getting a bat out, and
Mm.
taking a bat in there to beat him. That did not feel like Chase to me. But
Fair.
again, that's
I'm
just
not
my opinion.
disagreeing. I just think the gravity of it was weird. So when he finds out what's happening and then he goes to the house. So he went to the house with a weapon in mind. That wasn't just like, "Oh, I have a bat in the back of my car." I feel like Chase, like you said, Chase would have
Which
gone in.
I mean, he might have. Guys just play sports sometimes and have things. I mean, I get it. He might
That's
have had
true.
it in his car, but
Weren't they doing baseball
uh,
for a while too? So like maybe it was just in his
they were the
car.
boys. Like Chuck and Jamie had the baseball too. So him having the baseball bat was not weird. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But sorry,
But
continue. I'm
like I
cutting
said,
you
I
off.
think he would have gone in. I think he would have gotten into a physical, like fist to fist
Yeah,
interaction. Like maybe he pulls the dad off. The dad shoves him, there's a fight. That seems more realistic than like, let me go get this out of my car and walk into this house and set the record straight. That's more of a Dan move than a Chase move. I could see that. I support it.
yeah. That's what I meant by like it being a low. At first, I think I had it in my miscellaneous pile because like you said, I get the severity of it. I get that he would have gone in to defend Chuck and Chuck's mother, but I don't think he would have handled it the way that they wrote the scene.
Yeah.
If we're following who Chase is as a character from when he started to then. Um,
Yes, that also speaks to
but
how quickly they tried to wrap up the storylines. Like that just felt
mhm,
very
mhm.
rushed.
Yep. But
Okay, we
also
gotta
like
close this out.
but also the whole backstory of Chuck and the mom and the dad, it kind of seemed like this was not how they were portrayed earlier on. Like when she first got introduced and like she was the snooty, snobby mother to Haley when him and Jamie got into a
Oh,
fight.
I
Like,
think it tracks.
see,
I
I
mean, I
don't
don't
think
know if
it,
it tracks. So
uh,
she comes in as the snooty know-it-all mom, but then you find out that the dad's never around and she drinks all of the time.
but what I'm saying is that like she looked together and coming from like I'm around people or I've been around people who have drinking problems and she was too put together in that state of mind even then. If she's a known drunk, she would have been more sloppy even back then.
Fair,
That's all I meant by it. But yes, I agree with what you're saying as well.
fair.
It's a hit or miss.
She would have more tells, I suppose. Maybe. So,
Yeah, she just seemed too put together in the previous seasons. And then all of a sudden it was like now she's slumped over at a bar all day. Like
and
she would not be
we
then
went
picking
0
her
to 100
child
with
up at the
Chuck real quick. You mean to tell me it took us 4 seasons to figure out what was going on with Chuck? That seems weird.
yeah. Again,
So
I
again,
think
just
they
one of
didn't
those
know if they were
storyline things that doesn't make sense. The dad's never there, but then he hasn't been back in 4 seasons, but now all of a sudden he's back and the mom's like, "Come on in." No.
yeah,
No.
it's there could have been a little bit more developed there, but again, maybe they just didn't know if they were going to keep Chuck in that storyline going. And then I don't know. I think that's why I don't relate to some of the later seasons because it feels like some of the storylines were just getting thrown together because we had these nostalgic people still around, but it was like, what are we going to do with them? Right? Like,
Yeah.
what kind of storyline are we going to give them? So I guess maybe that's why I don't care for seasons 7 through 9 as much, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
And then
So
why is that what gets Chase to buy the bar? Like that needed to happen for him to be available to buy the bar? Maybe he realizes
yeah.
he doesn't want to be in the Navy or whatever, an Air Force pilot, and he wants to stay local. There's so many other things that could have occurred for him to
Uh-huh.
be able to stay and buy the bar than to get dishonorably discharged, which sucks. So that also makes me think like at the time, did the producer have a slight against him? He's like, well, I'm going to make your character terrible. He's going to do this noble thing, but it actually is going to like ruin his life type of a thing. So that makes me think that
Yeah.
too. I haven't listened to the Drama Queens podcast to find out all the background stuff of season 9, but that just made me think of that for sure.
Well, that actually is a good point though, where you say like, why would they write Chase's character that way? Like, and it's almost making me think like he probably like who Stephen Coletti was in real life, not on the show. Um, he probably reminded the producer of like every guy he hated in high school because that's who Stephen
Probably.
Coletti was and that's what he was known for. He was the hot popular guy in a rich California town. I mean, that's to a T, probably every guy that the producer probably hated growing up with. So he probably was just like, I don't care about him, but everybody else likes him, so we'll keep him around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to give
I
him
don't
this
know.
awful storyline.
Yeah.
Same with
Because
Mouth.
again, we said that. Yeah, we said that about Mouth. We said Mouth was actually one of the few people that used to question things about the script or say things about scenes, and then all of a sudden it was like Mouth became this character that like nobody really cared for because he was truly making him like him, and then that's why we didn't like him as an audience. Yeah, it was. It's the whole thing was a mess. Obvi.
That is a low. Mouth storyline is a low to me. Again, it was one of those things that just felt rushed and put
Yep.
together.
Hmm.
I have listened to the part of the podcast where Lee talks about coming back and having, he was working out, he was getting ready to get married, he was, looking fit. And probably if the director saw himself in Mouth and then Mouth came back completely different, putting him
Hmm.
in the fat suit, having him have that storyline, it just felt lazy. Like, okay, so you're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
make
no, for
Mouth
sure.
fat and then he's gonna go on a diet and like get his life back together and find his podcast. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was
Okay.
a low for me too. So, I'm on the same page as you with the whole fat storyline. It's funny
Yeah.
because it's like some of our highs are then turning into our like that's what I'm saying. It's like for every high we have, there's also a low that comes
The equals
with that
storyline
character
low.
storyline.
Yes.
Yeah, and because I was just now looking again at my notes, I'm totally switching people now. I'm getting into a whole different thing. But one of my highs is Logan, cutie with a heart I put because little Logan, he's just so cute. And we needed a little adorable. Like I love Jamie, but Jamie was now getting older. He was, you know, a little bit different now. And so it was like to have that little cutie pie in the mix
And
was
Logan is the
adorable. But then
cutest kid I think I've ever seen
mhm.
in my life.
Oh yeah,
So
adorable.
adorable.
So he was obviously a high, bringing him into the show and making him a big storyline. But then it's like Clay forgetting he had a son altogether was a super low for me. I'm like, dude, like, I'm sorry that these storylines were just outlandish. I just don't
And
get
then for Sarah's parents, for him to go to them and be like, I'm so sorry, you must hate me. And they're like, no, we understand. You went through something very traumatic. No, I'd probably hate you a little bit. How? And for them to never reach out to him, the doctor is the one who told him to like let Clay come back on his own. No, bro, you got to confront this. You have a kid that you need to take care of. Yes, that is, I do have high Clay and son, low Clay and son, also Clay
yeah,
and his son. Like,
yeah. It's just they
okay.
said that they tried to talk to him about it like after the whole thing went down. And I'm like, well, clearly you guys didn't try hard enough because I don't know.
And he
I
just
just
went
don't
out
get it.
traipsing around the world with his star athletes, living his best life while his kid is just falling apart at home. Like,
Yeah, it's like now the early stage of
6 years.
Clay
It was 6 years.
really
6 years.
yeah.
6
So it really
years.
irks irks me now, knowing now this even more. Again, we love Robert Buckley, but we don't really care for Clay too much. It was just not good. But
Yeah, wasn't a fan.
okay, well, since we're on the topic of them, I'm going to bring up Quinn for a second. First of all, Quinn is never on my high list. Let's just throw that out there. Okay, I don't know what it is about her, but that girl is never on a high for me, ever. Like,
Aw,
there's
poor
never
Quinn.
a moment, and I feel really bad because, like, she's probably such a sweet girl in real life, actress, you know what I mean? But, like, and I've seen her in other things, and I like her in other things, but, like, on this show, I cannot connect with her character whatsoever in any capacity. And again, with the whole Clay, before he finds out about Logan, he's going to the drug dealer because he's sleepwalking and whatever. And she's going up to the drug dealer like she's going to do something.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, girl. Like, you are a twig and he is a drug dealer. Like, what are you going to do?
She's got to fight for her man, Jess. Come on.
No.
He's buying drugs in the park.
No, that needed to be handled totally different. I'm sorry. That is no. I'm not feeling it. Sorry, Quinn.
That's okay. I actually don't have Quinn mentioned kind of anywhere. I do like, now that we're talking about it, a high for me would probably be when they're like at the courthouse trying to do stuff and she's trying to plan stuff for the wedding and Logan says, "Are you coming, Mom?"
But again, that's Logan. That's not even a Quinn thing. That's a Logan thing.
A high Quinn for me would be, I guess it's still centered around Logan. Clay sets up Logan's room, which way to drop like $5,000 on this kid's room randomly. But he sets up his room and she says something is missing and she goes to get the picture of Sarah and brings the picture in and says this. But then she goes into her super cheesy spiel of, "I never felt safe unless I had family photos, even in hotel rooms." Okay. Sure. It's probably sweet and endearing, but
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, Quinn is just there. I think that's my issue with her is that like there really wasn't a development of her character at all.
she just exists.
From when she started to the end, there was nothing in her storyline ever for us to latch onto. If we really think about it, because even the storm episode, right? And what she was going through with that, it still felt heavily like it was Clay's baggage. It didn't feel like her baggage. Because again, this is happening to her because she's with Clay. If she's not with
it's not
Clay, this
happening
doesn't
because
happen
of
to her.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if you're
She just has
still
to, like,
with
survive
David or
this
your
girl.
previous life, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You just need to survive this crazy girl coming after your man. Like,
And
that's not
you, because
really
you're with him.
yeah, but that's not really like a storyline for us to like root for or like latch on to who she is. You know, it
That's true.
was it great acting and a great episode? Yes, but I just looking at her from season 7 to the end, there was nothing tangible for us to latch onto for her. So again, not her fault.
Jess is speaking the truth, y'all.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to get this heated about season 9, but I am apparently. I don't know. I was not expecting this today.
Like you're talking about Lucas almost.
Oh God, let's not bring him up. He's out of the picture now. Just kidding.
True, but he makes the guest appearance.
That is true. And did I have that on here? I'm sure I did. I'm sure I mentioned this somewhere.
I didn't. I did not. I know it occurs, but it did not make a high or a low for me.
I did put it on as the high, but I don't know why. I don't really think it was a high. I think it was just fine. Like it was a fine episode.
I think it was a high to pay homage to the end of the series. Lucas comes back. He's there for Haley. Yay. But that's it.
Yeah. I wrote as a high the way they handled Dan's death.
Oh yeah,
Lucas
I had that as a high.
With Lucas
Dan's
not
redemption
coming.
story.
I put that as a high. Yeah.
Because we've
I put
hated
that as a
him.
high.
Yeah, but you've hated him from season 1 to season 9. You kind of have these glimmers of hopes. I do have that. I wrote Dan's redemption story, especially in episode 11 and all of the entire opening. You're just watching all of the choices that he's made that have led him to where he is now. But at the end of the day, He was just a hurt little boy who was jealous and afraid and didn't know how to process his emotions. Like the whole arc of Dan in that I think is a high. Keith being there at the end to help him, um, like transition into the afterlife. Like, don't worry, little brother, you're my plus one. Like, just the whole
It gets me
story.
every time. That gets me every
Yeah.
time. I cry every time I hear it. Every time.
Yeah, I think that's super sweet, and I think it's hard because you go like, how does everyone forgive the man that killed this other man? And I think that is a testament to the show and the music that they use and the stories that they tell of like, yes, he did this awful thing. Here's why. It doesn't excuse it, but it makes him more human and not just this monster that everybody has painted him out to be. Enter in Haley, bringing in Lydia, letting him hold her. Because at the end of somebody's days, it's not about all of the mistakes they did. It's how
Yeah.
how they left people feeling. And even Nathan says that, like, you don't owe me an apology. Yes, you were terrible and awful, but all of those things led me to where I am right now. Doesn't make it okay, doesn't make it right, but that's just the reality of the situation.
So you talking through that now reminded me of why that was on there. And that's
Yeah.
it's basically just what you said. So like Lucas not being there and the way Haley was explaining it to Dan, like he's not coming, and Dan accepting that, it was like it was true to what the storyline was. So I think that's why I had it as a high. It's like the way they handled that whole thing. And yes, so you basically elaborated on what my note was. I just didn't know that's why I wrote it down. But then when you started saying it, I was like, yes, it's all coming back to me. Like
But
that.
that goes to why Lucas never went to go see Dan even when he was in prison, but Nathan still did. Like, it just shows they all
I mean,
agreed.
Dan was still Nathan's father.
Yes.
Like he was his, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, he's Lucas's
okay,
dad too,
actually,
but
no,
like,
I'm gonna reverse the terminology. I'm gonna reverse the terminology. Dan was Lucas's father. He was Nathan's dad, if that makes sense.
that's deep.
That's how I always kind of view that. Like when it's like when you say things like mother, father, it's very like there's not that respect there for me. But it's like that's my mom, my mommy, my dad, my daddy. Like, you know what I mean? Like that to me is more endearing, and then how a child views their parent. You know what I mean? So I think it makes sense why Nathan would still forgive him in the end in these final moments, and why Lucas could not be there. It just makes sense. Yeah.
And Lucas never calls Dan
yeah.
dad. He's never like, that was my dad. Right. That was my father. Ask the man you call father. He's never once called Dan dad, but Nathan has called dad. So
yeah. He called him dad one time, but it was before he found out about what happened for real with the shooting. It was when him and Dan started to bond after Keith's death. And he did call him dad the one time. And then we all knew the truth, and we were like, no, don't get close to him. But yeah, like you said, he never called him that throughout the series. So I always
doesn't
correlate that
Peyton
with
use that terminology for her dad too? When like the whole Ellie thing comes in, she's like, yeah, because she tells Larry, like, you're not even my real dad. And she goes, he might be my father, but you're my dad. Or she says something along those lines, I feel. So that's a good correlation.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's just how I view it. So I thought they handled it beautifully. I mean, if we're talking about like how we got to that point, like the Russians being in Tree Hill, that was obviously a low. Like,
yes.
Is that where you were going?
But so bleeding into that, the whole Nathan's missing storyline, that's a low for me. Haley having to be a hooker, that's a low for me. But the cop then being the one who was behind it the entire time, genius. Brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't see that coming at all. Like, that was great.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Well, he
low.
wasn't really like the mastermind, but he was just in on it.
He was involved. Yeah.
Yeah, he was involved. Yeah, of course. They always need a dirty cop. There's no way that criminals like that get away with stuff if there's not dirty cops. Yeah.
Touché.
I mean,
so yeah, that's what I have. I was like, Nathan's whole missing storyline, Haley being a hooker, to then The cop
See,
reveal
I
was
liked
great.
that Haley went and did that. Like, because Haley had to do what she had to do. You know what I mean? She was like, I
Sure.
got to do what I got to. But
Yeah,
and then of
I
course
guess
Dan
that's
was there, so we knew nothing was going to happen to her. You know what I mean? Like we knew it was all
right.
set up. I
It
like
just
that
felt
everyone
cheap
teaming up
and
with
sleazy.
Dan and
Like,
everyone teaming up together. Yeah,
I did like everyone
I
teaming
get
up.
it.
Chris and Dan, Julian was involved. Like,
Yeah.
I liked all of that for sure.
Oh, speaking of Julian,
I know. I was like, my next line is my literal low. I
the
hated
baby
his
in the car.
storyline and his son. I hated how he then sought like punishment for that. But then I
Mhm.
also loved that he wanted to like make Ravens into a TV show. Like it really tied the whole entire thing together of how it started. That was all great. But everything in between the middle of that, I hated.
We literally have the exact same notes. Like I was just gonna say, I was like, but him making an unkindness of Ravens is in my like. We literally have the same notes right now. It's hilarious.
Yep. Yep.
Ah, but yeah, the whole baby thing, that one was a bit of a low.
The other
We
low.
haven't talked about. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say my other low is that Tara like
Mm.
backed Xavier. In no way. I don't know
I
if
was gonna
this
say,
is
are we
true.
gonna
This
get
is just
into
a
this? Because I'm ready to get into this.
th- I I don't know if this is true. I would like to think that it's not, but there is no way if me as a woman went to another woman and said, "This man is not safe. He has assaulted, he has murdered, he has done these things. Like, he is not safe. Please rethink what you're doing. I understand you're trying to get back at me and you think that this is the way to do it, but this man is unsafe." Would another woman go, no, and do it anyway? And then the scene where she comes in, she's like, wow, that guy really was crazy. I was livid. I just don't think that that was realistic in any way, shape, or form. Also, the rate at which they let out murderers in Tree Hill is mind-boggling. How's this man
Yeah.
getting out on
Um,
parole?
well, they never really but they said though that he was not convicted of certain crimes. They couldn't really link it that he actually did some of his stuff. I think they said
He
or
had
something. I
Pugh's
don't know. Ever,
ID in his wallet.
but he was known as like stealing and thieving. Like they, I don't know if they traced it back that like I don't know. I don't know if it was actually proven. Is what I'm saying. We weren't in the court case. We don't know. I have no idea. They just
Sure,
found
but
a bunch of
I'm pretty
wallets.
sure because why else would they in that scene, they're like, "Hey, this is Quentin Field's ID. It's in his wallet." That leads people to believe that he would then be convicted. She even goes to speak on her behalf of this man isn't safe. He killed Quentin Fields. He abducted a child. He assaulted me. Like he's unsafe. To then he still gets let out on parole. And somehow this Tara girl is like, yeah, I'm going to hire this guy. What?
Yeah, no,
Because you don't
I
like Brooke
agree
for
that
whatever reason?
I think that yes, I don't think she would have hired somebody like that. I think she would have done something else to obviously get back at her. But at the same time, it's like there are women who are petty like that and are vindictive and they really don't care. And it's sad that there are people like that, but it's probably not that far off. But then also back to the Xavier thing, like if there was no weapon to prove that he did it, sometimes that stuff does get thrown out or it's like a lesser sentence. So we just don't know. That's what I'm saying. We don't really know how it all turns out, but apparently, yes, Tree Hill, there was drama, so they got to just let criminals out, apparently. Uh,
Dan got let out. Xavier got let out.
I will say though, as much as we don't like Xavier, I had to put Brooke and Julian on the low because they were doing too much to force this guy into doing something. They were doing way too
Agreed.
much. I was like,
Agreed.
guys,
Because
you are
there is the
literally
redemption
provoking
piece.
this.
Yes.
Like,
They
you're literally
provoked him.
provoking him.
Yep.
And
100%.
I'm not saying
He got
eventually
out.
he
He's
would
trying
have
to do
gotten to that
good.
point.
Huh?
Like, eventually he probably would have committed another crime again. Yes,
Sure.
probably. But like, you guys are also forcing him to do that. Like, you see that? And now he's
Yeah.
coming after you. Like, you're doing too much.
Yeah. And I think that's what he says to Brooke is like, I was just trying to get out and make a new life for myself and get away from all of this. And you keep trying to drag me back into it. Obviously, he would have gotten there eventually, and she was trying to prevent that. But you have that thing of like criminals get let out all the time and they try to make a new life for themselves. And like you can't then just stalk him because you think he's going to commit a crime. That's not allowed.
Nope, not allowed. I know. I was like, if anything, I'm like, they should be getting arrested. They're the ones stalking him. I'm like, leave him alone.
Yeah, you guys are now stalking this man.
It's like Brooke and Julian, like you're putting yourself and now your children in a situation where this man wants to come after you. What are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
And it's okay.
So-
It's okay to feel like you need to know where he is or take precautions, install a security system, get a restraining order. Like you can do all of those things, but then to the point where you're stalking him and calling the police because he jaywalked across the street, that's a little overboard.
But also like calling the police because he broke into the house that he was staying at or whatever, right? Like, fine, call them, but then take off. Like now you sticking around waiting to see if he's going to get busted
You've
or
now
not.
told him you're the reason that the police are there.
Yeah, like he now sees it and now he's like, okay, these two are a problem. So now you're forcing his hand. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're idiots.
I mean-
Yeah, like that's what I mean about like stay in your lane. Like know when the right time to chime in and do it in a smart way. Okay. Yeah.
There.
Um,
Just getting heated.
I actually I know, right? I actually had, I think you mentioned this before, but I didn't say it because I didn't realize it was on my low list. But I actually didn't like Logan calling Quinn mom.
Aw,
at the
really?
end.
I loved that part.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it because it felt like it was too soon. Like this kid just met her. Like
Yeah, it's like his third time
I
staying at Clay's.
I understand that like eventually, especially when you are in a child's life for like a longer period of time, they may start to look at you as a parent. But I'm like, it was a cute moment, yes, but like I think I was like, he's only known her for like a week. Like, what are we doing here? She's not his
Well,
mother.
she had known Clay for
Like-
4 days, and she's, packing up her stuff because Haley and Nathan fired him. Like,
Yeah. So was it a cute moment? Yes. Like the fact that it was so cute and adorable, that is a high. But the actual logistics of it, I'm like, no, that is not a high.
that's not real.
Like I said, for every positive, there's a negative in this season. I swear.
You're like Phoebe. For every good deed, there's a negative outcome.
I did have Logan though with the ring during
That
the
was
proposal.
cute. I like that one for sure.
That was a super high, and he was like, "Clutch move, kid."
Clutch move.
So cute.
I feel like
That's
sometimes
cute.
Robert Buckley comes out in Clay, and those are the moments that I like Clay the
Mhm.
most, is when he is most like
Mhm.
Robert.
Yeah,
Or most like Buckley.
he did have some moments like that throughout the series. I really liked when Brooke gave Julian her diary.
Yes.
It was like it was like that. It was like a moment where like it felt Brooke was finally letting go of being afraid to be vulnerable completely. Yes, she's married, she's got the kids, but like it was a way for her to just, it was finally a time for her to just be like, I'm completely okay. I want you to know even this side of me. And like it was really nice.
Just
I
not
really
the
liked that
Peyton
moment.
boat scene. She was
Yeah.
like, but that was also cute that she did that. That was funny. So I was gonna say, to tie
Yeah, I was
into
gonna say,
Brooke
I
giving
like-
Julian the journal, was Brooke
Mhm.
finding her voice and her boundaries with her dad. Like,
Yes.
nope, I'm taking my, like, just her whole entire being and wrapping up her character as a whole. I have that as a high, like finding her voice and setting boundaries and not apologizing, and then not like playing victim and just being like, I just can't believe that my parents would do this. Fine, they can take it, but I'm out, and this is where I draw the line. I really liked all of those key moments, to then like them coming full circle and becoming, a family.
I did find the scenes funny where she was like finding out that her parents were like back together. Those are really comedic
Oh my
scenes. I
god,
really
that's
like.
funny. That's what you were just saying a minute ago. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when he comes out of the shower and he grabs Brooke at first because he thinks it's for her mom. And she's like, what is happening right now? Um, actually, I need to ask this because you know how I think they talked about this on Drama Queens podcast too, where even like Haley was mentioning, she's like, is it Dan that's like responsible for Nathan being missing? Like, did your mind go there when you first watched it? Like, I never went there. I never
No,
was like when Nathan was missing that it was like Dan who was responsible for it. And like even
no.
rewatching it, I'm like, I get what they were doing, but like they're not proving it enough for me to fall for that it's Dan.
No, and I feel like wasn't there an episode where Haley asked, like, "What did you do with him? Where is he?" And, like, tried to blame him? I think that just because it was so unknown as to why he would have gone missing, that he would be the logical choice. He
Mhm.
murdered Keith. He even when Jamie went missing, they were like, "My dad's back in town, and he was just convicted of murder." Like, he's just the scapegoat at that point. Like, it was just an easy thing for them. "Oh,
Yeah.
it was Dan." I never once thought it
But
was
like,
Dan.
well, yeah, because like as bad as Dan was, Dan would never do anything
To
to like
Nathan.
that's what I'm saying. He would never do anything to Nathan or his grandkids or anything like that. People getting in the way of his relationship with
Sure.
them would cause him to do that. But like I didn't like that storyline. I was like, I don't know why we're trying to put this on Dan. This is not Dan. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know why we're even attempting to do that, but whatever. It was stupid.
I do have one, the ending. It was just too quick to tie everything up. They tied things up better in other seasons. It was a miss for me. I didn't like Skills and Bevan at the end. I didn't like Mouth and Millie being pregnant at the end. I liked the caveat to them going to the game. That was beautiful. I liked that whole piece of it and bringing that full
Mhm.
circle. Aside from
Yeah.
that, everything just felt rushed and they needed to put a quick bow on it, and they left holes in storylines or plots or things like that. And so I remember being disappointed in the series finale when it happened. I
Mhm.
remember exactly where I was. I remember who I was watching it with. And I was just kind of disappointed. And now having rewatched the series so many times, her power's back on.
As we're
So great.
wrapping up
Sorry.
the episode. As we're wrapping up the episode.
Yes, I know. What was I saying? Even now
You were
looking back, like, again, it just feels like everything was super rushed and just not thought
yeah.
through and put together. But there's still that one, like, for every low, there is a high. Like I said, I loved them being at the
Yeah.
cafe and flipping the sign and, "Oh, we're going to Jamie's game," and just the cuteness of that I loved, but everything else
Mhm.
having to go back into play for that was a low for me.
It's interesting you said that because even some of the things you were saying were a low were a high for me, but then some of the highs for you were lows for me.
Lows
So
for
I
you?
guess I
Interesting.
guess it's just but then some were the same. Like I felt the same about some. Well, let me go through my list here because it's not like a list, it's kind of like a paragraph, so I kind of have to read through it. But basically I liked when they did the voiceover section, they all took turns doing that.
Yes.
And that same phrase, we've heard that now a few times throughout the series, like hold on to it. Like some of the things they said, they have said before in voiceovers
Yes, when you
before.
have a
So
dream in your pocket, do you have a hold of it? Good.
yeah,
Yes.
so like I liked that they kind of brought that back in because that was like a big thing throughout the show. I didn't okay, I get it and then I don't understand it at the same time. But like Dan giving Mouth the money, I didn't get it. Like I get it, but I don't get it at the same time. Does that make
I get
sense?
it and I don't, but I do because, like, he went to Clay. So he tried to go to people who have always been good to Nathan, I feel. So he went to
Yeah.
Clay and, like, tried to wake him up. Mouth, didn't run those storylines, has always been a good friend. He wanted to do something good with his legacy.
I
Maybe
guess he
because Mouth
figured like
defended
he would
Jimmy Edwards and Keith,
and
Jimmy got blamed
and
for Keith's death. Like, I could see
because of
that being
Dan.
the reason why.
Okay. Yeah, now that you explain it that way, that maybe reads a little bit better in my head. I just feel like in the moment, it like really makes you think it's like, why is he giving it to Mouth? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if some people are not as like, you know, quick to like put all that together, I feel like it just kind of felt weird. I don't know, to me.
It's definitely an
Um,
afterthought because why would he give it to him? And then you kind of walk through what I just did. Like, oh, well, maybe it's
yeah.
because of this. You know, Keith was blamed
Mhm.
for Jimmy Edwards' death, but, Dan's felt some type of responsibility or whatever. Jimmy's mom went to Dan during the Scott-free redemption thing. Like, I could see why he did it, but only after the
Yeah.
fact that was not abundantly obvious in the episode.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense for me. I put Gavin DeGraw on there. I just put his name, so I'm assuming that means I liked it. I don't know, that we saw him
Yeah,
again.
him coming back to close it out.
Yeah.
That was great. They all
Um,
sang along to the song. The reason that
Jewel
could be a low for you is because One Tree Hill characters do not know the significance of that song.
Yeah, so,
That's
like
a viewer appreciation song. The fact that they were all singing Gavin DeGraw, I don't wanna be doesn't have a place in the show. It's
well,
just nostalgic for the viewers.
but it's also not that okay, so again, yes. Yes, that moment felt more like you're at a One Tree Hill concert and everybody's singing along, like, that's how it felt. Like, it felt like, "Oh, this is a reunion show, and we're" like, that's how that moment felt a little bit, but then at the same time, like, I could see everybody singing that in that world because he came to play in the first season at the cafe, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, Gavin DeGraw." So it's not like these kids would not have grown up knowing that song if they were true teenagers. So, like, it was kind of weird. It kind of felt like, yes, this could be happening, but then no, it felt like, oh, we're doing
Like
a
they broke
reunion
the
episode and we're
third wall.
doing like yeah, it was just I don't know. It was a weird thing. Like I loved it, but I didn't like it at the same time. It was interesting. I don't know. Oh, major high was Julian buying Brooke's house for her. I loved
Oh,
it.
I know, I completely forgot about that till you just said
No,
it.
I mean, I literally just wanted to cry. Like when she was just like, I always wanted like a family to live here, and he's like, and now
Now there
the
will be
house will get
one.
that. Yeah, and I was just like, oh, like this is so good. This is so good.
I
Haley
forgot a Haley
passing
high.
along and Haley passing along the box of predictions to Jamie. I loved that. I was about to talk about Jamie wanting to break his dad's
Oh,
scoring
scoring.
title.
That was cute.
Yeah. So that was a high for me. And then that they were all hanging out at the cafe. I really loved that scene. That was super cute. Yeah, I feel like we're all over the place. But honestly, that's true to season 9. That's season 9 was all over the place. So
Yes. For
you know
every
what?
high, there was a low.
The podcast episode matches the real episode. So you know.
Sure does.
I liked that Skills and Bevan were back together. You had that as a low. So that was one of the
Because she's
differences
got a
we
kid
had.
with Tim.
But she said that she got divorced, remember? She said that to claim
It's still
to
weird.
Clay. It is weird, but I think Skills also never really let go of that relationship for some reason. I don't
That's
know
true.
why.
I would support
But
that. Like Bevan was Brooks Lucas,
Mhm.
and Skills just never found his Julian. It's fine.
Yeah. And then yeah, that was basically it. And then I think just the last, like, it was a high, but it was also a low, was Jamie running out onto the court. I think I always just question, like, where were his other friends? Like, maybe why isn't Chuck on the team with him? Or why isn't, like, Quentin's little brother out there on the court with him? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Quentin's little brother. Like Quentin's little brother should have been out on the court with him for sure.
yeah. Yeah.
I
But
feel-
even Chuck, I mean, Chuck played all the sports and the games with him growing up too. Like, I just felt like there needed to be that tie-in.
But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
like it would have been cool if Madison was in the stands or like somebody who looked like Madison. That would have been cool. I feel like Jamie and Andre should have come out onto the court at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
just would have been.
Okay. All right. Let's wrap this up because I'm tired of this glitching.
I'm like, can we? Okay, I'm just going to check my notes to make sure that there wasn't anything that we didn't have. We can end it. Bye, friends. Me. Hi. I'm the problem, it's me. I'm just going to text you. Am I back?
You are back. All right. Let's just say it.
Okay. Bye, friends.
We're done, guys.
We're done. We're tapping out. This feels very season 9.
Bye, friends.
This is how I felt at the end.
No, I don't like that. Let's do that.
Bye, friends.